the street project and sort of what we're doing, what feedback we got from the meeting that we had a few months ago, how we want to proceed with things. Ron and I talked a little bit last week. The suggestion was made of potentially doing an ad hoc committee to handle the street project.
Because Ron probably won't be here when this happens.
Oh no, he's sticking around through.
He'll
3
probably-
more years?
No, I won't be here when it finishes.
No.
He'll probably
I figured
be
that.
a resident of.
He'll be a resident, yeah.
There you go.
And not downtown.
Yeah, so I guess first of all, thoughts on the feedback that we received. We only got the 3 letters.
Yeah.
And I do believe, this is anecdotal, so I might be wrong, but I think at least one of the local business owners downtown did pass these out to all of the other businesses, hoping to elicit feedback.
Okay, good. But
Again, don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, but that was,
these are the only ones we got.
these were the only ones.
Yeah, I
got
only
there.
see 2. What was it?
One is a one pager, and then one had the pictures.
Oh, okay.
Which is the antique mall? Is that Easter Day's old
Oh,
building?
yes, Easter Day's old building.
Okay.
You got any extra of those pamphlets or anything?
Here.
No, I just printed my own out.
Here, if you don't mind, I can go make it.
Oh, okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
And Kay said she made some comments too.
I would
Dan-
think personally, I'm sorry.
Was she the one that did the pictures?
She may have been.
Maybe.
Because I talked to her and she said she wants to see us. Pretty much what Jeb said in his letter. That's what, and
Oh, that was a nice letter,
it
yeah.
was very good and I agree with him 100%. The only thing is, and I agree, I've been saying it for a long, long time, all the time I own the building downtown, that street between Kay's building and my building, we always should have made it into something else, a park or something.
Square or something.
But it's gotta be far enough forward that the garage can still have access in and out.
You know.
So you're still gonna only have half a street used. But you could do something with it.
It'll be better for the farm.
And if you did that, you're gonna be losing about how many parking spots?
Most of them are not used.
True, most days.
Most days, they're hardly used at all. And there would still be like a couple because you gotta square it off.
Who did that letter come from? I don't see a signature.
We don't know.
You talked about the antique mall.
The one with the pictures.
Oh, yeah, I don't know who did the pictures.
Yeah.
There's no signature that I see.
Jean thought Kay McDaniel
I
was
thought
going
Kay
to
did,
say
because she told me she submitted comments.
So maybe it was this one.
Well, that
So
would be-
maybe that was Kay, I don't know.
Well, I myself have kind of mixed views on this whole thing. A part of me, with the condition and the way the buildings are downtown, why would you want to spend 5.5 million to have a state-of-the-art sidewalks, streetlights, and everything when the buildings don't?
Well, that was gonna be, sorry, that was gonna be part of it. is to
Right, well,
Get rid of those.
and having a building downtown and talking to the people, because I talk to them a lot still, they feel that if we do improve how it looks, we will have people being more interested in coming to town, have a reason to make it more of a destination. And
But I mean, some of these buildings actually need to be torn down. and
some
replaced.
do, but a lot of them don't.
And I thought until we get some major development,
And we might not get that unless we get the sidewalks are in terrible shape.
but a major development, what we do could end up being jackhammered out and have to be redone for their situation.
No, because they would have to abide by what's just.
Well, what if it's apartments with underground parking?
They would come from the back, not from the street.
I think what Neil's getting at is,
I know.
if we build it, and, you know, we don't know where to put in the large water mains, you know, and if apartment or something goes in, they're gonna need fire service,
Right.
where is that gonna be? That's my biggest fear too, is we do it, maybe something happens, but can we wait for that?
I don't
Well,
know.
how many streets are in the bad, the old, that we have to, that really need to be done?
Pretty much all of them.
Really?
Is it water, just water lines, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly water.
Oh, man.
Because asphalt wise, it's largely okay, right?
Asphalt fair poor.
And I think the streetlights, if you switch to LED and the coat of paint, we're good.
I have a whole different take on this. Okay, so when it was, quite a while ago, the train came through, people got up at the depot, got a place at the plaza and did their business in town. And then cars became more popular, so railway was out of it. But that's centered around transportation, how are people gonna get to town? It's the same thing that's happening right now with the 23 going around. It has changed the dynamics of the town where people are not coming through here anymore. And that's not gonna change anytime soon unless,
Well, I think Amazon has changed the dynamics of every town.
Oh, yeah, retail, yeah.
that too.
I mean,
So-
that's
Well, it's been, the writing's been
got
on
less
the
to do
wall
with the
since-
highway and current trends.
Since before the internet existed with the, interstate expansion in the 50s, because if you're gonna be able to easily get to a big town and get to,
More
you're gonna
choices.
do it, yeah, but even if we're mostly service oriented, we still need, an attractive downtown and good parking and good streets and sidewalks and
Right, we can't look
definitely
at
good water
our,
mains.
yeah, we can't look at our downtown and say, well, it's not retail, so tough, like, you're just gonna go away.
But I think it's gonna shrink in size and maybe be more residential oriented.
So, and that I think goes to why we, going back to the point that Ron and I were talking about, maybe a committee on this is necessary. Because really there ought to be a vision for what that downtown is going to look like, and it's a quasi downtown redevelopment and street project committee. And put together basically a site plan that says, here's how we want our street project to work, so that it facilitates this ongoing redevelopment. How do we make these things work so that if a developer comes in and wants to buy up some buildings and put up apartments, we know that, yeah, they're gonna need to knock out sidewalks or whatever it is, but the underground infrastructure is there to support that. So all they need to pay is the building hookup instead of having to redo the whole street
Depending on water mains.
on water. Yeah, and that's, maybe something we need to size for. And it might also be something where we look at the electrical needs through downtown. Like it or not, electric vehicles are coming, and making sure that there's sufficient electricity to buildings to support them in the future if
That
we're
was
gonna
in,
have
that was in
residential.
Jeb's letter
Yeah.
that we have.
You know, just about every small town in Minnesota is going through this problem.
Yep,
And they're having discussions like we're having. Very few are successful at it. There's only one I can, top of my head that I can think of right now, and that's Grand Marais. But they have the lake to draw the people in with. We don't have that here. This is like an agrarian economy around here where a lot of it's centers around farming, where Grand Marais centers around the lake. Now, if we can find something where it bring the people here, we'd at least have a small chance of getting something to be accomplished. Otherwise, we're just gonna be another one, like, if you go through Maple Lake, their downtown's bigger than what we have right here. But just about every building, or I'd say 3/4 of them are vacant or for storage.
Yeah, Litchfield's that way too.
Yeah, Litchfield's another good one. And they've got 7,000 people there, I think, don't they? There's 4 or 5? Yep.
Atwater, Grove City, Belgrade, Bruton, I mean, you go further west, it gets worse.
It does, oh yeah.
You get closer to the city, it gets better. Now, in 50 years, we're probably gonna be a suburb.
Could be.
well, I'm seeing from the feedback that we got, there's at least some tentative support for a project. But I think the business owners are rightfully concerned, they want to make sure it's not going to put them out of business, either through an assessment or a loss during construction. So those are things we need to plan around if we do this. And I also think we need to go into it with a careful vision of what is this going to look like, not so that it supports what we have here today, but so that we can grow into it in 30, 50 years, the life of the asphalt and everything we put underground. I'm going to jump off agenda for a little bit because I think we need to talk about the stormwater pond before I have to leave at 6:30.
Okay, that's related.
Yeah, and because that's something that
We have to decide.
we have to decide to do regardless of the downtown street project, I think, although it's certainly better to do it with it. Ron, do you want to update us on what we need to do here?
Well aware of the options that we have in front of us, and the council kind of directed us to pursue option 2 a little bit, which we did. We met with the watershed district and the watershed 1 plan, and they have committed the $250,000 in 2026. But that still leaves a very good chunk out there, and we do have another grant that we can apply for. I guess what we're looking for at this time is just direction from the council that yes, we should be pursuing option 2 and the land at this time. I mean, our next step would be to go out and pursue.
Purchase the land.
Yes.
Well, how much are we talking about again?
We did talk to 2 of the property owners, and, you know, we didn't throw out numbers, but they both agreed that they are open to discussions. So I guess at this time, if you want us to put some offers out there or get them in here, or do we want to?
I think this project makes more sense than the downtown as far as saving the
Well, this
river
has-
and the lakes and being a little bit green. I'm not the greenest guy in the world, but on storm sewer, I'm all on. We need to get as much grants as we can, but this project, I'm in favor of doing. I talked a little bit with Ron. I said, even if we purchase some of that river land down there, maybe put in a canoe launch and things like that we could implement into the plan. And the DNR loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we like, or a fishing thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, you know, even if we decide we can't do all of the rerouting of the drain lines and things like that into the ponds and into the streets, having the land there as a future opportunity for this is never a bad idea.
Right.
Right.
We know we're going to have to do it at some point, we might as well get the land.
But if we get those grants, I suppose there's a time.
Then we'll have to do it. Yeah.
Time. You can't just sit on it.
Well, I think with the watershed 1 plan, they're planning on 2026.
Okay.
Well, that gives us a couple years to get this done. But I'm all for it.
Great.
Great.
And I believe
good.
Public Works kind of said, when we discussed it at that
Okay.
they're in for it.
How many properties are we buying? 2 or 3?
I think it's 3.
Right at the end of Central Avenue, is that it?
Correct. Yes.
Well, it might clean the place up a little bit.
Well,
What's gonna happen if they find some pretty bad soil down there?
Well, in our talks with
Deal with it
the
now.
watershed one plan, they weren't terribly concerned about that.
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we talked to them a lot about, sort of, I shared my concerns and things like that, and, you know, they all opined that generally speaking, that might be a surface level type thing,
Yeah.
if there's a problem at all, but it's not likely to be deep.
Right.
They were all in favor of getting it cleaned up to prevent issues, but they thought by and large it's a runoff issue or an evaporative issue, not necessarily a ground penetration one.
Yeah, this is Kate's writing. She mentioned phone.
So what do we think, if we're looking at an aspirational goal for, well, back up a second, stormwater pond, it sounds like we all have a consensus that we need to at least move forward with the land acquisition at this point. Starting to throw some things together for that,
Yep.
That and grants.
and grants.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, keep the ball.
Aspirational goals and a project charter for the downtown street project.
I think I like your idea with this special committee, people that are in the know.
Kind of like we did before.
want the best for Painesville, and 1 or 2 council members is probably plenty.
Yep, couple downtown businesses. I'd like to get a couple downtown residents in there as well, rather than just businesses. People who live downtown and are affected by it should have just as much a say as those who work down there or own a building down there.
Yeah, May should probably be involved in it then.
Yeah, May would not be a bad one to be
She's got a
involved.
lot of people who live downtown.
Are there grants for that type of project, or
Not. that I-
where would the 5 million come from?
I think it depends on what you're doing, like, looking, do you mean just the downtown in general? Because looking at some of these things, like the green space and things like that, some of these suggestions, I mean, there's certainly grants for that kind of thing. It's just, you might have to break it up into chunks of what you're trying to do and apply it there.
There isn't for like the water mains or,
But something, yeah, there's a lot, just with escalating climate issues, there's gonna be grants for, certain sewer things and stuff like that. But again, you just have to break it up into chunks and figure out what you're looking for.
Ron, on the water mains, we're not dealing with any lead down there, right?
Nope. Lead's all been taken out.
we would have got money for that.
That's what I was saying, I would have definitely had money for that.
They have money for that.
Yeah.
Why does this go like that instead of straight across?
Because this
Does the sidewalk money come out of our,
Liquor,
is there money, how much money is?
I don't think there is any right now, because we've been using it in the general fund, because we haven't had any sidewalks to do. But that doesn't mean we can't take it.
Okay.
Well, we better start saving the next 3
Because
years.
we don't charge
It is.
the
Okay.
people for the sidewalks,
Right,
only the street,
I thought we had a bunch in reserve for sidewalks, we don't.
because we haven't done any for so long.
Right,
But 3 years will give us.
well, every year we do some repairs and grinding and whatnot.
Yeah. But I don't think there's no money in the sidewalk fund at all. Is
No,
there?
actually, we combined the sidewalk fund with the street, it's street and sidewalk now.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think so.
Well, I know what a hardship the 3.5 million put on in the 2019 project. So you almost have to double that. So it means we probably won't be doing much for 10 years if we do this. That's the reality. I'm not saying I'm against that, but that is pretty much the reality. And we got other aspirations going on, fire hall,
Library.
this and that, and library, that's gonna be some
Store.
big money.
But,
You can't do them all, I'm
No, I
sorry.
know.
but if we don't do downtown, what's downtown gonna look like in 10 years?
Yeah.
then?
I think downtown is a priority.
I think yeah,
It's a chicken and the egg thing with the downtown, right?
yeah.
Do we wait for development to come along and hope that buildings come?
Or do we make it more attractive, more with tourist development?
Right.
Because, when we talk about something that's gonna bring people here, I mean, we also have to look at, maybe that won't happen, but what do we wanna do for the people that live here and pay taxes and elected us? What do they wanna see? They wanna see a nicer downtown, whether it brings a single person or not, just for their own use, for their own enjoyment, so.
And I think there are a lot of businesses who are operating and thriving downtown.
Absolutely.
And we have somebody coming who's working to open the movie theater again and doing things like that. Hopefully, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
She
she's got
still owns
enough.
it, so.
She still owns it, she's got an uphill battle, but she's climbing it, at least I think she is.
Yeah.
But we're really seeing a shift from that retail into more of a service type area. But I think the people who bought the corner drug building have started doing some things to the outside of it as they are able to do. I think it's looking 10 times better than it used to. Not that it took much, but it still is.
Yeah.
So,
Did they ever fix up the apartment upstairs, or
I don't know.
Their son was living in it.
it is
Apartment
being,
upstairs.
It is being lived in.
Yeah, their son is living in it, from what I understand. And they're living on the main floor.
And now the Eats and Treats is for sale, and I believe nobody's living in it.
No, they can't, the roof is leaking. And somebody came, I guess Lisa was contacting me that has my old building. And she had somebody in that was looking to find out information on the eatery, buying it. Because I said, well, I think he put a sign in the window.
He did it, then he pulled it, so maybe we'll go again in spring.
Maybe he put it up yet or something, I don't know. They wanted information on
So you can get in contact.
who owned it and where to, yeah,
I have the details, but I'll put them in touch with him.
yeah, this was on Saturday.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
And I don't know who it was, she was.
What about the eatery, is that?
That's what I was just saying, somebody came in
Oh.
on Saturday
I thought
that
you,
was interested in it.
oh,
Yeah.
There's been a lot of interest in that, well, not a lot, but more than there will be for a building that hasn't been as recently redone, certainly, but, you know, it just depends. He wants to let it go, but he doesn't.
Yeah, and that makes some sense. You know, it's his dream to do it.
Yeah.
I think we should do a committee.
I think, yeah, that's where we need to go.
Yeah.
That's always my answer, so no surprise here. Let's do a committee.
Well, and
Well, I think we have to involve the people that are gonna be affected.
Yeah,
And that's the easiest way is to have like a 6-person committee.
yep.
Who will you guys be on there?
Who of us guys? I probably should be.
I was gonna say, I think you should be.
I have a lot of connection. I owned a building 25 years. so.
Okay.
And I would say Neil, with his public works experience, would be the other appropriate one. I know,
Unless you don't want to.
unless you don't want to, you can decline, but that's,
I'll do it if you don't want to do it, but if you want to do it, you should do it.
What do you think, Neil?
I also, here's the other thing that I'm thinking, if you're not sold on the project yet.
not entirely.
Yeah,
And I kind of like the idea of having somebody on the committee who's not entirely gung-ho, let's do this, let's get it done. We need somebody who's willing to say, step back, let's take a second and really think this through.
it's good to have a bottom liner.
I would make a recommendation, you probably mentioned Kay, and I think Jeb would be another good representative for downtown.
Yeah, and I mentioned May too, since she has a lot of residents downtown. And I was thinking maybe Nicole,
Yep.
either Nicole.
As long as we can get a quorum.
I guess I can if we don't meet too many times a month.
I would think Rachel might want to be on it, and Jeb.
Yep.
Yep, Jen, we just wrote down.
Yep.
Yeah, Rachel would be good, yeah.
We have, I'm trying to think of who lives downtown right now.
And then maybe somebody that, like the mayor mentioned, that community representative.
Yep.
I don't know who that would be, but
Because May is good, you know, she has a lot of residents and she's a good advocate for them, but she doesn't live downtown.
No, but her residents.
Yes, but you know, I think we should pick somebody who lives downtown.
How about the guy that's been coming to the meetings that works at,
He doesn't live downtown. Will?
well, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't live downtown.
but, I mean, he works downtown.
I know, but
I know where he works.
we need somebody
Yeah, sure.
who
Yeah,
lives
sure.
downtown, I would say.
Huh?
I said, but we need
The
somebody.
problem
who
is,
lives
that
downtown.
a lot of them are transient. I mean, they come and go.
Right, so that's why I'm trying to think of who, I mean, Kay lives downtown.
She does, and her
And
son.
owns a business,
and
yeah.
Debbie.
Koopmans as well, the people who bought Corner
Yeah.
Drug.
But I'm trying, is there anybody who just lives, like,
Well, there's 4 apartments in my old building, but
yeah,
they've all changed, they're all
yeah,
changing.
they're all changing.
Chris.
This is moving.
Yeah, Andrea Christensen lives above the paper.
Well, we can certainly, I mean,
We'll
just
think
like we
about
do
that.
for other
Yeah.
committees, we can put out a notice and ask for
Yep.
applicants. I think the same thing should be done with this. We can reach out to a number of people, but also let them
do
know.
we need a motion to do these things?
We're in a working session, so we can't, but
We'll
certainly
do
we
that
can
next
bring
week.
it up.
Set up.
Because I think we should have a motion on both the moving ahead on the committee and moving ahead on the stormwater.
Yeah.
We can do it next week. Or week after.
Ron, on the stormwater stuff, how do you want to develop pricing? Is that something where you want to talk to those people, or do you want council to come up with some numbers first preliminarily? Do you want to bring us some figures before you present anything to them?
Maybe myself and Tarek should have a sit down with them, or if one of the council members wants to sit in with us, that'd be fine too. At least.
Usually you kind of start with what the tax
Right.
market
Yep.
is.
Well, a good place to start too is the property value on taxes. That's probably under value, but
Not usually too bad.
not always, no. That'd be a good starting point.
Yep. It's usually where we start.
Well, with that, I think if we're all in agreement that we're going to be doing some sort of a committee, I'll put out a call for interest in doing it. Even though we haven't formally moved on it, that way maybe we can get a list of proposed people, so that when we vote to create the committee, we can get it staffed and done, get that thing rolling right away.
Don't get it too big,
Nope.
because you get it too big and
Can't
you
get quorums.
No, you get too many opinions. And then you really can't come up with anything.
Small and balanced is better usually.
I mean, we've all heard of a camel horse designed by a committee, so. Yeah, I mean, I like everything else in here, but I liked the rough timeline that was included in the agenda. I just feel like we're punting by saying, oh, we're gonna do a committee and everything else is just gonna fall to that. But it seems to me the committee should be tasked with developing the vision and then really making a decision, yeah, maybe move forward on this, and making a recommendation on that to the council,
And review whatever grants are out there.
right? Any other thoughts on that?
Linda, start looking for grants for us, please. You'll get rid of it. She does grants for us for the museum.
I was going to turn this over to Gene at 6:30, but I don't know, do we have anything else here?
Nope.
Short and sweet.
Ron?
The only other person I was thinking of, do we want somebody kind of from the outside business world, like maybe a Dale Klein?
Maybe.
Just throwing it out there. Who do we put on? It's entirely up to you. Just a thought.
It's a good thought. Of course, he's never around anymore.
That's the trouble there.
Yeah, he's retired and got a girlfriend.
Or maybe somebody like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think we gotta get Chuck involved too,
Oh,
on
absolutely.
designs that other cities have done and,
Yeah.
you know,
One of the things that I think would be helpful is that, you know, if our public works crews are going around fixing things, just photograph what it is before you fix it. And then maybe afterwards, so that way we have, you know, a visual log to show this is what happens with the aging infrastructure.
Oh, sure.
You know, something that we can show, you know, yes, we can fix these types of things, but, you know, the more you weld something, the more fragile it becomes, or you can only grind down the sidewalk so far before there's nothing left underneath. Just documenting those types of things so that we have better data to analyze rather than just going off of anecdotes and things like that. Right.
I mean, just snapping a photo with their phone,
Yeah.
just forwarding it to Ron somewhere along the way.
Sure.
Good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying call up, call up Stoneburner and have her come out there and take a picture of her. No, just, you know, all the crew have smartphones, so. Okay.
all right?
All right, thank you, everyone.
You're good to go, Sean.
Stand adjourned.
Look at that.
I know.
6:29.
She's gonna say, how does Gene feel about taking over the meeting? And I'll say, I think so.
We finished.
What is background?
See, you should, just always have